In 1950, Kathmandu was a medieval city of 200,000 people, surrounded by rice paddies and forests. Today, nearly 4 million people call this valley home. In just 7 decades, one of the most culturally rich places on earth has become one of the fastest urbanizing and most chaotically planned regions in Asia. This is the story of how it happened, what it's costing, and whether it's too late to fix. Let's look at the map. In 1975, the built-up area of the valley was roughly 40 square kilometers. By 2018, it had reached 77 square kilometers. That's a 3-4% increase in just over 4 decades. Current projections show that by 2050, if nothing changes, the built-up area will hit 352 square kilometers, effectively doubling again. The fertile agricultural land that once fed the valley is disappearing at an estimated rate of 0.63% every single year, a 21.8% decline across certain sectors. There are 3 major forces driving this. First, rural to urban migration. Around 400,000 people move into the valley every decade seeking jobs, education, and healthcare that simply don't exist in the countryside. Second, remittance economy. Nepal is one of the world's top remittance receiving countries, over 10 billion a year. Much of that money flows back into land and construction, the most accessible investment for returnee workers. Third, weak zoning enforcement. The 20-year Strategic Development Master Plan exists on paper, but the Kathmandu Valley Development Authority, the body tasked with implementing it, struggles with institutional fragmentation, political interference, and a lack of enforcement teeth. All those people need to move. Today, there are over 1.7 million registered vehicles in the Kathmandu Valley. Motorcycles make up nearly 80% of that number. The annual growth rate has been as high as 12 to 15% in recent years. And here's the kicker, public buses and minibuses make up only about 3% of the vehicle fleet. There is no mass rapid transit system, no metro, no light rail. The average commuting speed during peak hours can drop to below 10 kilometers per hour. That's barely faster than walking. All those vehicles, all that construction dust, all the brick kilns on the valley's periphery, they are trapped by geography. The Kathmandu Valley is a bowl-shaped basin surrounded by mountains. The pollution has nowhere to go. The WHO's safe annual average for PM2.5, the fine particulate matter that penetrates deep into your lungs, is 5 micrograms per cubic meter. Kathmandu's annual average, between 37 and 48 micrograms. That's 7 to 10 times the safe limit. During winter inversion and pre-monsoon seasons, daily peaks can spike past 300. To put it bluntly, living in Kathmandu is the equivalent of smoking a pack of cigarettes every few days, just by breathing. Perhaps the most alarming consequence of unplanned urbanization is seismic vulnerability. The 2015 Gorkha earthquake killed nearly 9,000 people and destroyed over 500,000 structures. Experts warned then the next one could be worse. Multiple seismic assessments have concluded that over 60% of buildings in the Kathmandu Valley are non-engineered or semi-engineered, meaning they were built without proper structural design, without adherence to building codes, often by informal contractors on unregulated land. The combination of high density, narrow access roads that emergency vehicles can't enter, soft soil in the valley basin that amplifies shaking, it's a recipe for catastrophe. It's not a question of if another major earthquake will hit, it's when. The Kathmandu Valley was once known as a garden city. Traditional Nuar settlements were designed around open courtyards called bahals and chowks, public spaces that provided ventilation, light, and community gathering. These are disappearing. Studies estimate that dedicated urban green space now covers only about 3% of the valley. For comparison, the World Health Organization recommends a minimum of 9 square meters of green space per person. Kathmandu's per capita green space is less than 3 square meters. That's not just an aesthetic loss. Green spaces absorb pollutants, reduce heat island effects, mitigate flooding, and support mental health. Their loss is a public health crisis in slow motion. Infrastructure was already struggling to keep up with the 200,000 people of 1950. For 4 million, it's buckling. The water story is emblematic. The Malamke water supply project was conceived in the 1990s to bring 170 million liters of water per day from a river 26 kilometers away. After decades of delays, cost overruns, tunnel collapses, and political drama, water finally started flowing in 2023. But even at full capacity, Malamche can only cover about 30% of the valley's demand. Most households still rely on groundwater, which is depleting rapidly, or expensive private tankers. Meanwhile, sewer coverage stands at about 70%, but much of that wastewater flows untreated into the Bagmati and its tributaries. And solid waste. The valley's only major landfill at Banchia Danda faces constant community opposition. Waste piles up on streets and riverbanks for weeks at a time. So can the valley be saved? The answer is yes, but the window is closing. The 16th 5-year plans 2024-2029 explicitly prioritizes climate resilient urban development. The ADB is funding integrated urban ecological transformation projects. They are grassroots movements restoring public spaces, cleaning the Bagmati, and promoting electric mobility. But these efforts need scale, they need enforcement, they need a KVDA with real authority, and they need the people, all 4 million of us, to demand better. Kathmandu was built by kingdoms, preserved by tradition, and is now being reshaped by desperation. The question for the next decade is simple: will we shape that change, or will it shape us?